Hi, I'm Senator Malcolm Roberts, representing Queensland in Australia's federal parliament. 2020 has been a tough year for most Australians. The COVID virus has challenged the Aussie spirit and our way of life. I acknowledge the depth and breadth of feelings across our communities. Initially, there was disbelief over the possible impact of COVID on our lives. As tens of thousands of Europeans died, though, that rapidly changed into uncertainty, anxiety and fear, as we needed to react quickly to protect people's health. Then later, as the economy continued to be forced into the back seat, closures dominated. Business after business, job after job. It was necessary in the beginning to take a hard stance with lockdowns. Yet that lockdown approach has been long out of date. Even the corrupt, dishonest and incompetent World Health Organisation now admits that lockdowns are a sledgehammer that should be used only initially. Today our economy is littered with closures, bankruptcies and high unemployment. Many parts of our community are in the grip of hopelessness. Resentment and even anger are on the rise. Government's primary responsibility is the health, safety and security of our community members. And the health of our economy is vital for our ability to recover and for our future physical health. All Queenslanders care about our state. We know that. Our own prosperity comes from a healthy and economically vibrant Queensland. We want this for ourselves and for our children and for our grandchildren. For an effective recovery, Queensland needs intelligent, courageous and compassionate leadership. Such leadership would have the capacity to deal with the many facets of a virus: our physical health, our mental health, our economic health and business confidence, and our personal liberties, all with a sense of optimism and a vision for our future. Intelligent and compassionate leadership uses robust data for decision-making, provides reassurance through a detailed plan, and is honest, consistent and transparent in decisions that have devastating consequences for people's livelihoods and futures. Responding to a virus is not a simplistic choice between our health or the economy. An intelligent and courageous approach recognises that after the initial and necessary go hard of containment, we can manage both health and the economy. We must manage both health and the economy. Taiwan showed the world that by focusing on the health of their people through testing, tracing and quarantining, it could keep its economy upbeat and business confidence high. Yet Taiwan faced a far higher risk than we did in Australia. With its 24 million people, compared to our 25, we're similar. But they're crammed into a tiny island with greater contact with China. They've got a much greater risk. Instead of locking down everyone, Taiwan isolated only the sick and the vulnerable. And as a result, where we have 907 deaths and climbing, Taiwan has just 7. Unlike us, Taiwan kept its economy completely intact. Its leaders know that healthy people and a healthy economy are interdependent. Economic health needs physical health, and physical health needs economic health. Look, it's bloody obvious. Taiwan got the data, built a solid plan that the people trust. Now compare that with the Queensland Premier, Palaszczuk, wielding the blunt instrument of heavy restrictions for far too long. An urgent stopgap measure that is not a long-term measure. How can the Premier continue to justify this lazy, ignorant and heavy-handed approach that has bled out our economy and created so much despair, fatigue and ruin? So how can the Premier claim victory for Queensland? In my role serving the people of Queensland and Australia as a Senator, I have challenged the Premier to show Queenslanders the actual and specific medical and economic data that justifies her ill-conceived decisions. Disappointingly, she has no credible data. So the Premier's frequent use of the word plan is misleading, since she has not provided the credible data on which to make a plan. She has no plan. Instead, we have hollow slogans and false claims like strong and safe. She knows that when fear pervades the people, she has a better chance of fooling the people. The Queensland Premier has shown so little care and so little desire to consider the whole picture and to use the best available data. This laziness has abandoned communities, such like those along the Queensland-New South Wales border and in far north Queensland, who are left to wilt on the vine. I think that is willfully arrogant and neglectful. The Premier has consistently hidden behind the Chief Health Officer's health directives. The Chief Health Officer, though openly and rightly admitted she is only responsible for people's physical health, the Chief Health Officer is not responsible for managing the economic health nor our mental health. The Chief Health Officer is not responsible for managing the state. That's the job of the Premier, and the Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, has not done her job. Instead, the Labor machine, with Premier Palaszczuk as its front piece, has abdicated in favour of hollow slogans and taxpayer-funded advertising blitzes. Meanwhile, our economy and business confidence is in ruins. Our unemployment increases. We're drowning in debt. And now there's a big new concern: people's mental health. How the hell can people be mentally and physically healthy when they can't afford home loan repayments, rent, car payments or food? They can't. Think about the Premier's actions. For example, the cruel and absolutely unnecessary rerouting of cancer patients in border communities, or a pregnant woman tragically losing one of her unborn twins after the Premier refused her emergency entry into Queensland, denying loved ones to grieve and say goodbye at funerals, or the cold isolation of people in their last days and hours of living, being refused access to family love, touch and comfort. The Premier's false and callous statement that federally funded Queensland hospitals are only for Queenslanders and not for people of near northern New South Wales was a moment when many Queenslanders felt deep shame for the lack of compassion and common sense. An arbitrary border on a map appears to give Premier Palaszczuk permission to bestow cruel and unconscionable behaviour upon the people. I believe the Premier's claimed strength and care is just a cruel facade covering her obstinate, callous and heartless behaviour. The Premier did, though, make very different decisions for celebrities, giving them rite of passage into Queensland, for footballers and their executives who enjoyed the spoils of travel and play, and for the wealthy with yachts with lots of money. Her hypocrisy is an insult to many Queenslanders who have suffered financial, mental and emotional injury and trauma during this time. The Premier had no plan to manage COVID. The Premier has no plan for a COVID recovery. She deceitfully dragged out a pre-existing $58.1 billion infrastructure plan that was pre-COVID. She dragged it out again to give the impression of economic stimulus. This dishonest manipulation is yet another insult to all Queenslanders. The Premier's only plan is to get re-elected, and all else must wait. I think this self-interest is arrogant and yet again another insult to Queenslanders. The Queensland Premier's refusal to present a budget to the people is a brazen avoidance of accountability and an insult to Queenslanders. A budget is a basic responsibility of every government as part of being accountable to the voters. Before COVID, Queensland had the highest unemployment in Australia, the highest debt in Australia and the highest business closures in Australia. Since COVID, Queensland continues to outrank in all three areas against the rest of Australia. And the worst is yet to come as we move towards the cliff of JobKeeper ending. What will happen then? Premier Palaszczuk's incompetent mismanagement will not save us and will be disastrous for our state. As a Queenslander, I expect a hell of a lot more from a Premier. I expect intelligent, courageous and compassionate leadership, and not a feeble and fear-mongering politician. The Premier's play for "I have kept Queenslanders safe" is an oversimplification of the complexities of managing our state. It's a deliberately deceitful camouflage, hiding reality. Instead of dishonesty, Queenslanders need the truth. Instead of deceptive hollow slogans, we need genuine care. Instead of mismanagement and avoidance, we need a recovery plan based on solid economic data and health data. Queenslanders deserve respect and care. Keeping Queenslanders safe is about more than just our health. It means people have a job, a roof over our heads, care from loved ones. Our children are being educated, and it means we can put food on the table. How can we Queenslanders have hope when Premier Palaszczuk has destroyed much of what will keep us truly safe? And how can we have hope for a future recovery under this Premier?